All right, so we're going to look at unit circle again and then how to evaluate using that unit circle with trig functions. Cover up your left-hand side so that you don't look. I'm going to teach you how to memorize this without any calculation. So this is just my way of doing it, okay? All right, very important thing is you have to draw these colors. So you need 5 separate colors. You're going to draw a line going down that way. Notice that's from the x-axis up, right? X-axis up, same color line. The line in the middle, the 45-degree, a different color. The line in the middle of the other side, the same blue line. Then finally, the green line, and that's from the y, closest to the y, so close to the y would be the other side. And then the x-axis, and then the y-axis. So 5 different colors. It's very important that you do this so that you can see the correlation. That's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. You're going to write this for my left-hand rule, radical. Remember, we did this before, radical over 2. That gives me the left circle. Then here you're going to write -1. Here you're going to write +1. And here it's really going to be, I get $5 gas at 7-Eleven. I'm going to keep saying it until you get it. All right, so the x-axis coordinates is going to be cosine. The y-axis is going to be sine. So it's very important that you remember that. X is cosine, y is sine. So let's go ahead and get started. 0 goes 30, 45, 60, 90. We need to memorize it. Then for the bottom of the radians, we need to do 2, 3, 4, skip 5, and make 6. Okay, that's how you memorize that. And of course, 0. All right, so we're going to do the left-hand side coordinates. So this would be 1, 0. And of course, the y would be 0, 1. Then to find those, we do our hand. So we're going to bend our finger over. Left is 1. We're going to put 1 in there. That's going to simplify to a half. The right-hand side is going to be the y value, which is going to be radical 3 over 2. Take the second one down. We've got radical 2 over 2 for both, because it's left and right. Take the third hand down. Left side is 3, so radical 3 over 2. Right side is 1, so radical 1, which is going to give you 1, and then over 2. So like I said, once you know the first quadrant, you can use that first quadrant to get the rest. This is a listening check. Color in y-axis. We're going to start off with degrees. So it goes 0, 90, then it goes 180, 270, then 360. So we know the quarters. This distance here is 30, so add 30 to 90. Then this distance is 15, so you add in 15 each time. The big one is 30, so you add 30. The small one is 15, you add 15. Big one is 30, add 30. Small ones are adding 15, all the way around. All right, so I have all my degrees. Now to memorize my pi's, it's very, very simple. Follow the line. So we'll start right here. Follow the line, that's going to be over 2. The same thing that it's over, so pi over 2. Follow this line, pi over 3. And we're going to fix it in a little bit. So all the greens are pi over 3. So all the same colors are the same thing. Blue is going to be pi over 4. All the blues are pi over 4. So I'll fix it in a second, but this is how I write it down really quickly. This one's pi over 6, so all the pinks are pi over 6. Now that we have that, oh, and of course, this is 2 pi. We already know 360 is 2 pi, 180 is pi. All right, now that we have that, this -1 means take the denominator, subtract 1 to get the top number. This one means add 1 to get the top number from the denominator. This one is $5 at 7-Eleven. So it's a gas station. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, but $5 at 7-Eleven. All right, then now you're going to copy all the coordinates by color. So all the greens have the exact same coordinates. All the blues have the exact same coordinates. So copy down all the coordinates by color. And then, of course, all the pinks have the exact same coordinates. This is a listening check. Shade in A in the box. All right, don't forget the x-axis as well as the y-axis. So copy down the exact same coordinates. There we go. Now think about the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, both x and y are positive, because if you pick a point there. In the second quadrant, x is negative, and then you go up to find y. So that's positive. X is negative, and then negative is y as well in the third quadrant. And finally, in the last one, x is positive because you're going right, and then down, so y is negative. So according to this, only the x's are negative, so the first values are negative. In the third quadrant, both of them are negative. So we're going to label negative, 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 negative. And in the fourth quadrant, only the y is negative, so the second value is negative. All right, that's it. That's the unit circle memorized. So if you know the first quadrant, you can do the whole unit circle. So let's answer some questions, because why do we use a unit circle? So an angle of the unit circle terminates in quadrant 2 can have the coordinates of this. Yes, it does, because that's exactly what it is right there. So true. Point D has a sine value of 1. So you go to D. Remember, cosine is the x-axis and sine is the y-axis. So it's asking you, is the second coordinate a 1? Yes, it is. So that one's also true. Point C has a cosine value of radical 2 over 2. So again, cosine is the x value. So you go find point C. Is it radical 2 over 2? No, it's not. False. All right, point B has a coordinate of that. That's false. Point A has coordinates of this. That's true. All right, so let's evaluate trig factors. This is the whole point. So cosine of 45. Well, remember, cosine is your x-axis. So what you're going to do is go to 45 degrees and then find your x value, and that's cosine of 45. All right, sine, is your y-axis. So go find that angle, 2 pi over 3, which is right there. Your y value is the second one, is radical 3 over 2. Now, these you may not be aware of, so let me go over some definitions. So tan is really sine over cosine. So that, what does that mean? That means y, because y is sine, over x, because cosine is x. So go to 90, find the y value, which is 1, and the x value, which is 0. So 1 over 0. And you put that in the calculator, it's undefined, because you can't divide by 0. All right, tan again, same thing. So remember, it's y over x. So what is the y value at 4 pi over 3? Go to your unit circle, 4 pi over 3. Your y value is negative radical 3 over 2. Your x value is negative 1/2. Now, anytime you have fractions, I'd like to do a keep. So you keep the first thing, you change the division to multiplication, and you flip the denominator. Then you just multiply the numerators and multiply the denominator. So that simplifies to radical 3. Secant, you can read this backwards like that. It looks like cosine, doesn't it? C-O-S. So we're going to say secant is the inverse of cosine, which means it's 1 over cosine. So remember, cosine is x. So find x at 300. So find 300. X is 1/2. And it's 1 over 1/2. And again, we're going to keep the first, change it to from division to multiplication, and flip the second. Then go ahead and simplify. All right. And the last one, cot. I remember this t, and it's tan. So the inverse of tan is cot. So remember, tan is sine over cosine. So I'm going to replace the tan right there with y over x. And then we're going to keep, change, flip. Now we're going to go find the values of x and y at pi over 6. So if you go to unit circle, pi over 6, x is radical 3 over 2. And then I'm going to change, and then I'm going to flip. And y is 2 over 1. Go ahead and cross those out, and you simplify to radical 3. Don't worry if you don't get it so much. We are going to practice this some more. The important thing is you're able to read the unit circle. Let's practice.